What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. Anyway, today's story is bananas. Now, I've had a few run-ins with cults while I was in Seoul, but this shit right here is on a whole new level. But before we get into this story, I do have a small request. Please watch my videos until the very end. It really helps support your girl. The watch time is key because people have clickbaity thumbnails and titles, and YouTube needs to see that people are engaged and interested in the content itself, so watch for as long as you can. Until the end would be preferable. Also, please help drive up the engagement with a like, subscribing, comments, such as for the algo, for the watch, cue Game of Thrones.
For the watch. For the watch. For the watch. For the watch. For the watch.
It would also mean the world to me if you guys could check out the videos I have put together in playlists. There's a Storytime playlist, there's a rant playlist where I talk about the dating and racism issues, there's vlogs of me in Korea, hanging out, traveling, doing all that fun stuff with my friends. Especially check out the Storytimes because they are just, you guys are living lives. They're my Storytimes, there's also ones you guys have sent in, and we just out here living. If you want to share your story with me, please email me at cclesson3@yahoo.com like today's story star did. We're gonna call her Alice. She wants to go by Alice because she said when she first got to Korea, she felt like she was in this unworldly place, and that facade kind of faded pretty quickly. Alice is a young uni student. She was only there for 6 months. She's not there now, but she wanted to warn y'all about something that happened to her so you don't make the same mistakes she did. And she also says she doesn't want you guys to be tricked by a handsome or beautiful face. Listen to this cautionary tale I'm about to tell. Anyway, being young, Alice is no stranger to nightlife. She likes to be out, doing noraebang, singing and dancing, drinking with her friends. She says she was out more nights than she wasn't. Ah, the perks of being young. I remember those days. Back in 2017, we were out here in these clubs from like Friday to Sunday. And that's me factoring in flying to and from Jeju too. We used to stay out until Mad Holly was free at like 6 a.m. What was wrong with me back then? So anyway, this particular night for her was no different. She was out with her friends, chilling and hanging out. She said she liked Itaewon because there was always a good mix of some foreigners there, and it made her feel less like a standout, like there's more diversity, more people like her around. So she's out with her friends doing her thing, they're club hopping, going from bar to bar, club to club, lounge to lounge, and she notices there's one guy that she keeps seeing, and at first she kind of dismissed it because she's like, am I like low-key being racist and thinking that everybody here looks alike? Her words, not mine. But then she realized like, nah, this is definitely the same dude. She's seen him at like 2 bars, 3 different lounges, and like this is the 3rd club that she's seen him in. Same night. So you know, like either it's a small world,
it's a tiny, tiny world,
or my man's is following her. But instead of being creeped out, she was flattered because he was handsome. And don't judge her because it is scientifically proven. When we're around people who are perceived as beautiful or handsome or attractive, we tend to let our guard down. Science.
Yes, science!
So yeah, she says she felt flattered and excited because he was really cute. So she finally decided to lock eyes with him, and she gave him that like Disney batting my lashes, flirting, eye contact, please come over here now look, letting him know that he may approach. This fella shall be named Woo because Woo child. We're gonna call him Juwon. Woo child. So apparently the message was received because after she gave him the look, he started to come over, and she's with her friends like, oh my god, that guy, he's coming over. And they're like, bitch, relax, act normal, like the fuck are you doing? So her friends decided to kind of pull back to give her space with this guy, but also to keep their eye on her just in case he was a weirdo. So Juwon gets over to Alice, and do you want to know the first thing he says to her? You know, actually, let's play a little game. Here are the options. What do you think is the first thing he said to her? I'll wait. First thing he said to her was, oh, you like me? So Alice laughed because of how blunt and direct that was. That was a very unexpected thing to say. Not a, hi, you're very pretty, or hi, my name is Juwon, what's your name? No, he said, oh, you like me. So because she laughed, he said, oh wait, you don't like me? So he's like, 왜 웃고 있어요? Like, why are you laughing? And she's like, you know, you're cute, but I can't say that I like you because I don't know you. And he said, okay, haha, sorry, good point, but I think that did come out wrong, my bad. What's your name? So then he asked if she wanted a drink, and she said yes. But they also agreed that it was a little too noisy inside, so they went out front to get some air and talk. Like, they didn't leave, they just went out front, usually where the people go outside to smoke real quick, if they're not being assholes and smoking inside the club, because that's still really common in Korea. So they're outside having a drink and they're talking. So Alice made kind of like an awkward joke, like, I've been seeing you all night, are you following me? And he got defensive and said, I'm not a stalker. She's like, well bro, I didn't say you're a stalker, I just noticed that I've been seeing you a lot in these places. Like, as soon as I get to a place, maybe 10 minutes goes by and I see you there too. Things were a little bit awkward at first, but Juwon was able to kind of diffuse the situation a little bit and make it a little warm by saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're just so pretty. I had to talk to you." He said she had a warm smile and he liked to watch her dance, so that was why he happened to be where she was. So she apologized for the bad joke, but she also noticed that he seemed more mysterious, and she hates herself for it now, but that got her more intrigued and more curious in getting to know him. People like a challenge, don't they? She also said while they were talking, he made such intense eye contact, like he was staring right through her soul. And she says she felt like he was really confident, and that was just very attractive to her. So as they're talking, they're wrapping up their drink, Alice's friends came out because they're ready to head to another club. And they're like, "Oh my god, it's too crowded in there. The music kind of sucks. Let's go to another place." So they grab Alice and they kind of dip. And she's like, "Bye, Juwon." But as she's walking away, and as soon as he's out of sight, she realizes, oh shit, I did not get his number and I did not give mine. So that, well, that's where that ends. No way to contact them. They were in a hurry to this next spot because if they got there before midnight, then they could get in for free and they didn't want to have to pay. So she was kicking herself a little bit. She's like, "Girl, you had one job. You talking to this cute guy and then y'all don't even exchange contact information." Like,
You had one job. Just the one?
but her friends were cheering her up. There's like, "Look, girl, the way we keep seeing him at the rest of these clubs, he'll probably pop up again before we leave. Like, you'll see him in like 2 more bars." But plot twist, the night came and went without incident. She did not see or hear from Juwon at all that night. So yeah, Alice was pretty bummed, but there was really nothing she could do other than wait because something happens a few days later. She goes back to her normal life of schooling and clubbing, and she gets a friend request on Instagram from Juwon. To this day, she has no idea how he found her Instagram because she never told him her last name, and her handle has nothing to do with what her actual name is. So she's like, "Bro, how the fuck did you find me?" She was happy, back then, but what she knows now, red flag. So yeah, at the time she was happy that he found her, and again, hindsight's always 20/20, but back then, there was this mysterious aura about him. He was so confident and persistent, and she just wanted to get to know him more. So of course she replied back like, "Oh my god, how did you find me? I forgot to give you my cacao. You didn't give me yours. I thought I'd never see or hear from you again." And he never really did answer her question. He just went straight into asking her for her cacao. He's like, "Oh, haha, yeah, cool. So can I have your cacao?" And like, yeah, of course she gave it, and a few hours went by, and he decided to ask her out to dinner. He asked her what kind of food she liked and said that he would love to feed her. His words, he said he would love to feed her. That's a funny way of putting that, but food's food. She said as much as she likes Korean food, she really misses home. She misses some like American barbecue, southern shit. And I do remember back in 2021, Bria took me to this really good place near Hongdae. It was like an American style Texas house barbecue place. It was so good, and I hope that's where he took her because that food is fire. Anyway, it's a date. They make their plans and they meet up at the nearest train station. Now, she got to the exit first, and she said that he was kind of playing on the whole stalker joke from when they first met, and he's describing where she is and, "Oh, I can see you, ha ha ha," because she got there first.
Run.
It was all funny because it was very vague things at first, but then he started to describe what she was wearing, so she was just like, "Okay, enough's enough now. Like, what's going on? Are you just here to creep me out?" And he's like, "No, relax. Like, look over to your left." She looks over, and then she sees him. And when they finally locked eyes again, this is the first time that she saw him smile, because he's apparently a stoic rock in the clubs. And she said that just made her feel happy to see him, and like, "Oh, finally I got a smile out of this dude." So they made their way for the restaurant, and they had a really good time, a really good chat, really good casual conversation over dinner. The problem was he asked her a lot of questions, and he wasn't really open about who he was. He just kept asking her questions, and when she would finally get a question out, he was very vague with it, very short little answers, and like, "Anyway, so yeah, back to you." And she's like, "Look, I don't like talking about myself that much, so I want to get to know you more." He just kept listening to her responses and saying how boring he was. He's like, "I'm sure your life's more interesting than mine. Like, I really want to know more about you." So towards the end of the date and the bill's coming, and he asked her if he earned a second date. Again, his words. And she said, "Yeah, I'd like to see you again, but only if I get to know you a bit better, because this date, you just ask a billion questions about me. I would really like to get to know more about you." Y'all wanna know what he said next? He said, "I'm an open book. What do you wanna know?"
빌릴 수 있어? 언제 빌려요?
This gaslighting motherfucker. Anyway, he paid for dinner, and then he walked her back to the station, and she went back to her dorm. So yeah, that's how their first date ended. And over the course of the next few days and weeks, they were still talking and hanging out. It's not quite a serious relationship, but it is steady, so she's interested in seeing him as often as she can. One night they decided to stay in, and she invited him over to her dorm, and they watched like funny videos on her laptop. But she has roommates and stuff, and I think he kind of thought something else was gonna happen. When she walked him down, like out of the lobby, he asked if the next time they meet could be at a hotel. And at first Alice is like, "Hotel? Like, what do you, oh, you want to smash?" But at this point, she kind of wanted to too. So she said, "Yeah, okay, I'll meet you at a hotel." So another week flew by, they met up at the hotel, and not to give too much details, they do what adults do. And once they were done, they were laying there kind of just, well, talking a little bit. And Ju-won asked her, so what are you doing tomorrow? And tomorrow is Sunday. So she's like, oh, it's Sunday. I might do some studying. I have nothing planned. Why? He's like, oh, there's somewhere I want to take you. It's like, that depends on where you want to take me. And he's like, oh, don't worry, it's a surprise. So she's like, okay, cool, what kind of surprise? And then he says, I think it's a surprise you like because it'll help you understand me better. So she agreed. She said, okay, cool, like surprise me tomorrow, but please don't be weird. So the next morning he takes her near Shincheon station. But at first she wasn't too weirded out because in Korea there's like a lot of places and businesses that just look like an apartment building on the outside, but once you go in it's properly ventilated and furnished, and it looks really professional and well done, well made. Like tattoo parlors. Every tattoo parlor I've ever gone to in Korea looks like an apartment from the outside, and you get in and you're like, ooh, this is nice. So they head into this building, and she says she saw a bunch of like foldable chairs, and it was like aimed at a stage, almost like your elementary Christmas or winter concert that you give. I remember being in 3rd grade. Shalom Haveri. Remember we sang Journey to the Past from Anastasia? Heart don't fail me now. So I remember we had to sing all those like wintry concert songs for different religions and holidays and stuff. Anyway, when she said that, that's what came to mind. She said it was a bunch of foldable chairs aimed at a stage, like it was gonna be a performance or something. And as soon as she got in, she was greeted by hella people, like eagerly greeted by them. And she's been in Korea for a few months at this point, and she had never had so many Korean people eagerly trying to communicate with her, let alone speaking English to her. Not very good English, you know, a bit broken, but still they're making the effort to talk to her. She's just like, what is going on here? So they welcome her, they compliment her, tell her how beautiful she is, how she's so young. They also kept telling her that her future was very bright. Suddenly she can't find Ju-won. She's looking around, she doesn't see him anywhere. So they started asking her questions about her religion and if she has any religious beliefs, and she's an atheist, but she said she was scared to say that, so she just defaulted to, yeah, Christian, I'm Christian, yeah, that one. Then they told her that their religion is the true religion, and they had a presentation queued up and ready to show her. Then Alice realized, everything sinks in and she's like, oh, this is one of those cults, isn't it?
Oh, I made a mistake.
So all they kept saying to her was they were the real Church of Jesus and they will help her prepare for the end. So basically a doomsday cult. They kept telling her about the heavenly culture and the light. Now I don't know if this is the same one that came through to my apartment, because brief little explanation. So back in 2018, I had just moved from Jeju to Itaewon. First day I got there, there was a gas leak, so I had to leave my kitchen windows and stuff open to let the place ventilate. And the landlord pounded to like let me know that I had to do that. So I expected him to come back the next day to read the levels and check or whatever. So when somebody was pounding at my door early the next morning, I opened it expecting it to be my landlord. And it was these 2 old ajumas, and they came up with a little tablet and they were like, hello. And I was just like, you're not my landlord. What's going on? I just moved here. I shouldn't have visitors yet. They showed me a tablet, the Heavenly Mother cult. Well, not cult, but the Heavenly Mother. It was this biblical apocalyptic video queued up and ready to go. They wanted to take me out to lunch the next day or weekend, I can't remember. But either way, when they came back, I remember getting quiet and pretending I wasn't home, and they left a post-it note on my door and the door below me saying the same thing, that they'd love to meet me and hope they can take me out to dinner soon, or lunch, and I ignored it. So I know the Heavenly Mother, but hearing about the heavenly culture and the light, maybe it's similar, I don't know. Not to mention all the times that you could be walking around Gangnam or Shincheon or Myeongdong alone, and these people come up to you and they compliment you, they tell you how pretty you are, sounds familiar, and they want to show you a presentation, they want to show you something real quick. It happens a lot. Let me know if that's happened to you guys in the comments, because it's happened to me at least Gangnam 5 times. It's happened to me 5 times where people come up to me and they're speaking English, not the best English, but whenever a Korean approaches me first, red flag. That's just not something they really do. Yeah, it can be really scary because they're very persistent. I remember I was about to see Infinity War by myself in the theaters, and they were trying to follow me all the way to the theater. It's like they didn't believe me because I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm about to go catch a movie, like I'm already running late. And they like walked with me almost to like the entry of the cinema, and I'm like, y'all can go now, like I didn't buy y'all tickets, like what are you doing? Anyway, she said that with so many people staring at her, she found it hard to like make a proper excuse to leave. For example, first she said she needed to go to the bathroom and they escorted her to the bathroom. And then she said she needed to make a phone call. So they like escorted her out to show her a quiet place where she could talk on the phone. Of course she had to pretend like she was on the phone. She was like, yeah, ain't nobody there. I'll be home soon. Still ain't talking to nobody. So she texted Ju-won asking where he was and what was going on. And he replied with a smiley face. That is the creepiest thing I've ever heard. That is literally the premise of every horror movie ever. That is how people go missing. That's how women get murdered. Who does that? So when they saw her texting him, they tried to ask, oh, please stay off your phone, and try to collect her phone until the end of the presentation. She was like, you're absolutely not taking my phone. So then she messaged her friends and told them what was going on. She shared her location and they went out front of the building. She's like, guys, love to stay and chat, but I gotta go. My friends are out front. We have plans. I didn't know this was gonna be this long. Bye. So as she's making her way for the exit, they said, oh, perfect. You can invite your friends inside too. We can restart the presentation for them.
Shut up, Meg.
She didn't know how many of her friends were coming. She just put it in the group chat, and luckily like 4 of them showed up. And as she's making her way for the exit, they were trying to stuff her with all these pamphlets and give her sources and links to information about them. They asked for her number, so she gave them a fake one, and finally she was out the door able to join her friends. What a fucking troll Juwon is. How you meet me in the club, go on a few dates, we hang out, you're all mysterious and shit, we sleep together, and the next day you invite me to join a cult. And then he left her there. She has no idea where he went or what happened after that, because the moment he walked her in that door, that was the last time that she saw him. She never saw or heard from him again. Like, did he die? She doesn't know which cult it was because she had a hard time understanding their broken English. The signs didn't make a whole lot of sense, but she knows for sure it was a cult because she was explaining to her friends. She has some Korean friends and some foreign friends. The Korean friends were like, oh my god, that sounds like this cult. I'm so sorry. They give Koreans a bad name. They keep doing this. They target foreigners, especially ones who are by themselves. She insisted profusely, like, we are not them. They are such a bad representation of what Korea is. And she said even during like the pandemic, they got an even worse reputation because they caused like an outbreak of COVID in Daegu because they kept meeting and not taking safety precautions seriously. She just kept telling her like, girl, it is not your fault. I don't blame you. I don't blame Korea or Koreans. There's no country on this planet that is cult free. I'm just mad I got swindled and tricked by this pretty boy. So yeah, that's Alice's story. Alice, oh my days, thank you so much for sharing, love. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what Juwon expected. Did he think that she'd see the presentation and join him in the cult and they'd be a happy cult couple? I don't know, because the way he just dipped, it's like she was just another recruit that he swindled and like, oh, we got another one to check off. Get 3 stamps, you get a free sub. Like one foreigner, you get promoted. I don't know how it works, but yeah, that's what happened. Please check out my playlist and binge my videos that are about to pop up on the end screen. Again, Alice, girl, thank you so much. 항상 감사합니다. As always, thank you for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. 안녕!